Thank you, Ting, um, for your talk. Brought back a lot of memories for me as well. So Judy and I just got back from this long, month-long car trip, maybe 4,000 miles. Uh, the only practicing people that we visited, a very brief visit with Algernon in southern New Mexico. It was wonderful to see him. And Barry Briggs, southern Arizona, just about on the Mexican border. It's wonderful to see old Dharma friends and keep up these connections. My main practice during this month was extensive use of the steering wheel mudra. It looks like this, and the mantra, "Are we there yet?" I didn't say it out loud, but it was always my long, long drives. But very beautiful and wonderful meetings with my family, my sister's funeral in New Orleans, and seeing my daughter in Austin. And then all of a sudden, we're back here putting our house together. The main reason for this, the reason for this long car trip was we really needed our house to be renovated. And so all of that work has been going on, and it's almost done. And we have a lot of unpacking to do. We had to. You can see behind Judy, the bookshelves are empty. All of our bookshelves are empty. 60 boxes of books. You, you accumulate possessions. You don't become aware of it until you have to do something about it. But anyway, it's good to be back. And does anyone have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Ting talked a lot about checking, but that's a word that has many meanings in English, and the meaning she's talking about is a little specialized, and people new to our practice may not understand what's meant. Could you talk a little bit about checking mind?
Yeah. So it is a very um, common state of mind. It's, yeah. When you check, that's an individual actions. So I like this, I don't like that. That's basic checking. Approval and disapproval. So imagine a mind that, to use one of our phrases, is clear like space, very spacious. Anything that comes, yeah, no problem. Only what is your correct response to any situation, any person, any condition that appears in your life. So that's using a practice mind in everyday life. But you're no good. I like this. I don't like that. I like this person. I don't like that person. This. When you become aware of that, it's truly horrifying, to see your mind. How do we bring our practice mind into everyday life? Um, Sometimes a technique can help. And most of you have probably heard that I'm very much breath centered in my practice. And we breathe all the time. So if you practice with your breath, that every inhalation, you're breathing in. Breathing in what? Of course, yeah, air, and we need oxygen and so forth. But you're taking in this world and all beings in it. Then breathing out is not a form of rejection. Well, I don't like all these things I breathed in, so now I breathe out. That would be checking also. But you are becoming one, with the world insofar as air occupies the world, and you may have noticed that it's all over, all this air. It goes at least 5 miles straight up. I had a problem breathing during this trip. I have what my allergist calls mild, uncomplicated asthma, so it's not so bad. But around 9,000 feet, it gets to be pretty bad. So we were visiting a friend who had a cabin that he was renovating up in the hills, and yeah, 9,000 feet, and after about 20 minutes, very difficult for me to breathe. So at times like that, you really become aware of how important breath is. Stop breathing, you die. It's as simple as that. So if breathing is so essential, to life itself, it seems that it's worth paying attention to in practice. So that's my little advertisement of how important breath is in Zen practice. Uh, but that breathing in and being aware of it, that's not checking. That's total accepting. So checking is rejection. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. So the mind of the bodhisattva sees the same things, this, and this. And instead of saying, these are no good, I don't like them, just how can I help? What can I do given these conditions, these situations that are always appearing, these people who, yeah, sometimes it seems they can cause a lot of trouble. So that how can I help mind is the polar opposite of what Zen Master Sung San always called checking. I've wondered, but never followed up on what is he translating from Korean there, this checking. It's not a term that, it's not an ordinary English term. Outside of this practice, I don't think you hear anybody say, don't check. No, it's not quite colloquial English. I mean, we've become very familiar with it through our teacher. So I'll try to remember to try to find out anyway exactly what he had in mind when he said, don't check. So I hope that helps a little. Any other questions?
I, I have, good morning. I have a question or a comment. I was reading a headline in the New York Times today, and it was talking about the way certain planets orbit. And we usually think that planets orbit around the equator of the sun. They're already, but it's been found that some planets actually, not in our solar system, further out, orbit almost over the poles. So that was a big shock for me. All my life I've thought they always go this way. And the question I wanted to ask you is the final phrase of the article. It says, one thing is clear, the universe is filled with phenomena that more than happy to expose our ignorance. And that is a truly wonderful thing. Can we relate this to don't know mind? Is there something there that's pointing to don't know mind? Because I found it beautiful that it said it's a truly wonderful thing when we're exposed to our ignorance.
Yeah, well, some planets rotate, with their axis, like pointing towards the sun. Ours is at 23 degrees or something to the plane of the solar system. And some planets, like Uranus, it's like it rolls along, instead of turns around and in its orbit. That's interesting. I think there are other aspects to the cosmos that are truly astounding if you pay any attention to them at all. First of all, of course, is the sheer scale of the cosmos. Even our galaxy is 100,000 light years across. So you all know how fast light travels. So imagine how far it goes in 100,000 years. Light takes 8 minutes to get from the sun, which is 93 million miles away. And the quantum aspects of the universe, our minds cannot grasp these. I mean, scientists, astronomers and physicists can, present data, but they really can't explain why the universe is as it is. I've always looked at the night sky since I was a little kid, still do. Had a wonderful night sky in Santa Fe. We were up in the hills outside of town, and sky is perfectly clear, perfectly black. Milky Way was very clear. Nowadays in Lawrence, you can hardly see the night sky. A few dim stars, and that's about it. So, but opening our minds to the cosmos, for me, it's been really important. So this universe is vast and wide. Why at the sound of the bell do you put on your sevenfold robe? So we live in this incomprehensible universe, but our lives, very simple, very clear. I know sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Our personal lives can get very complicated. God knows I've complicated my own personal life to an alarming and shameful degree, and more than once. But it can be very simple. So Zen practice takes a complicated mind, all of this mishigash, to use a wonderful Yiddish word, and simplifies, simplifies, simplifies. Just moment to moment. What is this? Moment to moment. How can I help? That's all we really need to know. But all the other stuff is really interesting. So I think it's really worth paying some attention to, well, certainly authors like Carlo Rovelli. He's an Italian physicist, and we just got his, I think it's his fourth book now. And read the first three, promised ourselves we would read this book during our trip, but never got around to it. But he has a way of presenting physics in a way that anyone can at least understand how completely marvelous this cosmos is. And both on the large scale and the subatomic scale. Really recommend Rovelli's books. Can't remember any of the titles right now, actually, but Carlos Rovelli. Do you remember any of the titles, Judy?
The new one is called Helgoland. Um, there's one about time. It's not the Arrow of Time, but it's something like that. But I'm going to put the name in the chat, and people can just look it up themselves.
Yeah, strongly recommend it. And paying attention to the world in the way that physicists do is, I think, it's really inspiring. And most of us don't have the mathematical knowledge to really understand, what they're saying. But Rovelli has a way of presenting it as if he's opening up this wonderful mystery. To look at this. What is this? Our basic meditation practice. What is this? Moment to moment. So that's my plug for Carlos Rovelli.
I just put up a web page linking to all of his books.
Oh, very good. Excuse me. I happen to be having a hard time breathing right now. I don't know why that is. And I would like to stop talking now. I know it's a little early, if that's okay. So thank you all for your presence here and for your questions.